Good morning, traders and investors. My name is Roger Scott, and I'm the Senior Strategist for Wealth Press. Today is Monday. It's March 7th, and the market's going to open up in about an hour and 43 minutes to be exact. As you can see, this is as live can get. It's about 7:47 in the morning here, Eastern Time. Now, this is the overnight price action just to show you what's going on over the weekend. Now, here's the bad news. The bad news is the Nasdaq's down almost 100 points. The good news is the Nasdaq was down over 300 points overnight, and the Dow, look at this, the Dow was down over 500 points. So this is actually coming back pretty strong. And we're going to watch this for the next hour and a half. There's a good chance we may be able to recover and start the week on a high note, or at least not in the crapper once again. Now, a few things you need to pay attention to. First of all, the news this week and last week and the week before, most of the news has been outperformed or less important in terms of market action than usual, because right now the market's being ruled by the war. I mean, this war is having a major impact on global economy. But with that said, there's a few things you want to pay attention to. International trades in goods and services is going to be big. The CPI is going to be big, and consumer sentiment. It's not as big of a week as it was last week, and we've got Redbook that's reporting tomorrow. That's going to be an interesting on retail. So international trades in goods and services coming out tomorrow before the opening, about an hour before. And I'll remind you, we've got the petroleum report, which is not all that interesting because we see what's going on with oil, and I'll brief you on that in a minute as well. But CPI and international trades in goods and services, and a little bit of consumer sentiment on top, because consumer sentiment gives us a real solid reflection of what retail sales is doing, and retail sales makes up about 2/3 of the economy. Now, here's another interesting takeaway. As I showed you, the market is down. It's not down as much as it was overnight. I mean, it was down a lot overnight. But even with that, the bond market has been down. It hasn't been up. Now, I'm going to tell you something very significant right now. Since all of this gyration started, since this war started, since the volatility, crazy volatility, every time the stock market has been down, the bond market has been up, not down. The fact that the bond market is down with the stock market being down tells us that investors are not seeking flight to quality or flight to safety. They're not panicking as much. And that's a very bullish sign, because typically you see investors putting their money into the bond market whenever stocks are down, and stocks are down. I mean, the Dow's down 200 points, but not today. And again, this is the first day in a few weeks now since that we've seen the bond market actually lower with the stocks lower. So that's significant, and that's a major change from what we've been seeing. Another significant change from what we've been seeing is the put-to-call ratio. We're now above 1. We were kind of tinkering around 1, but we're actually at 105 right now. That is very significant, and that's telling us that the market is way oversold to the downside. Anything 1 and over is telling us that the market is stretched out to the downside, needs to pull up. Another major factor that we're seeing right now is the fact that volatility, even though the market's going lower, volatility levels can't go above the high that was made about 2 weeks ago. And we're seeing major divergence. Look, price levels going higher, but the RSI can't sustain itself. That's another major factor, all right? Major factor. And as we get deeper into our analysis, I'll show you another major factor. But you know what? I might as well do it now, because it's just a good time for it. The Dow Jones is seeing divergence too. Let me just show you that. That's down only 166 now. Oh, no, sorry, 216. And that's another major factor right here. The Dow made lower lows about a week and a half ago. RSI couldn't sustain those levels. So you've got negative divergence on both the Dow Jones and on the volatility, which is telling us the same thing. And you've got the bond market actually down when the Dow is down 227 points. I mean, it's not crazy, but if it wasn't for this volatility, 227 points would definitely not cause the bond market to trade lower. It would cause the bond market to trade higher, or at least open higher. We're not seeing that the case. So that is 3 factors. The volatility, the bond market, and the Dow. Oh, and the put-to-call ratio. that are all pointing to a higher priced market. Now, in light of that, let's talk a little bit about global economy because it's looking terrible. Oil prices jumped, share prices were lower Monday as the conflict in Ukraine deepened amid mounting calls for harsher sanctions, but sanctions aren't doing anything in Russia. Crude oil went as high as $130 a barrel. Remember, I said 125, 130. Now the target's 150, and I think we can go up there. European markets opened lower. U.S. futures were down 1.7%. They're not down 1.7% down. Price of gold has finally hit above $2,000 an ounce because gold is a safe haven. I'm kind of going through this a little faster than usual because you guys know most of what's on here, so these are mostly highlights. Russian forces took it out on Ukraine again, even after Moscow announced another ceasefire and proposed a handful of humanitarian corridors to allow civilians to flee Ukraine. Russians have been shooting Ukrainians. They've been just really harsh. A similar temporary ceasefire in 2 Ukrainian cities failed over the weekend, and both sides blamed each other. Well, that's how it works during war. Nancy Pelosi, haven't heard from her in a while, said the House was exploring legislators to further isolate Russia from the global economy, including banning the import of its oil and energy products into U.S. My dad was actually telling me about that last night. They're trying to work out a deal with the Middle East. If it works out, Russia's going to get very, very lonely. You know why? Because Russia is just a big, big gas station. That's what it is. And if nobody wants their oil, no soup for Russia. Oil prices came under additional pressure after Libya's national oil company said an armed group had shut down 2 crucial oil fields. The move caused the country's daily output to drop by 330,000, which is not what we need right now. Crude oil jumped to $122 per barrel. I predicted $100 before this war. This war is only making things a little more complicated. China reported Monday that its exports rose by double digits in January and February before the attack, which is very significant. Custom data shows export grew by 16.3% over a year earlier. It's a sign that the global demand was recovering before Putin's invasion. How dare he, that Putin. Imports advanced 15.5% despite a Chinese economic slowdown that the war threatened to make worse. A list of companies exited Russia, including MasterCard, Visa, and American Express, as well as Netflix. No movies for you, Moscow. The conflict in Ukraine has threatened the food supply, which is why I'm looking at some food stocks right now. In some regions, including Europe, Africa, Asia, which rely on vast, fertile farmlands of the Black Sea regions known as the breadbasket of the world. Oh boy. And markets has posted 3rd week loss in 4 weeks. Again, things are not looking great right now, but indicators, market sentiment is improving, and momentum levels, I want to show you how low they are right now. So you could see that the market actually does not have all that much to go to the downside. Let me just find this for you here. I keep going to the wrong tab. Look at this. We've got only 20% of the NASDAQ trading above the 50-day moving average. And again, when I show you this, look at where we're at. We're just kind of sitting right there. And either we're going to break down a little bit more and go up, or we're going to start going up about now. And as you can see here, this is 10 years of data. And we hardly ever go below these levels. Oops, we hardly ever go below these levels. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 times, 5 times. I mean, we're sitting really near the lows. And the fact that volatility is diverging, the fact that the Nasdaq is below the momentum levels, the fact that the bond market is down with the Dow down, the fact that put to call ratio is now above 1, that's all telling me the markets are close to bottoming out. Now let me give you guys some levels, some important levels. On the Nasdaq, and I'm going to give you these levels, and I've been giving you these levels almost daily, but they do change a bit. On the Nasdaq 100, we're still looking at a breakout above the 350.50 level or a breakdown below the 317 level. I honestly think we're going to hold this box and not break this down because of the divergence, but we may make another double bottom and then start heading up. The bottom line is I think we're near the lows around these levels. On the S&P, let me give you these levels right now. On the S&P, I want to see us break above the 442 level, let's say, and then the 445 level. On the downside, we're kind of right there. If we break the 426 level, there's a good chance we're going to come down. But again, the fact that the bond market is actually lower is very, 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 very significant right now, and is telling us that investors are not seeking bonds or flight to quality. Let's look at gold real quick. Let's take a look and see how gold is doing. Now, gold is up a little bit, yeah. But again, look at this RSI, a little too much too fast. The bottom line is I think the worst may be behind us. Now, looking at the 11 sectors, not much has changed. We still got energy, but utilities now are in second spot. Consumer staples are in third spot. So utilities are starting to run high. And utilities are going to be a little more expensive because of all the gyrations with energy prices. So energy and utilities are up there. Again, technology and consumer discretionary are all the way down. Now, if you look at the 1 month, the consumer discretionary came up a little bit last week, and now it came down right next to technology. So again, we want to be in the meat and potato stocks right now. In terms of energies, number one still, communication services is the weakest sector. Strongest energy, weakest communication sector. As far as the main stocks are concerned, we don't have. Where was it? It was Devon. Devon was leading. It's no longer leading. It's all the way down now. We've got Occidental Petroleum, Mosaic Company, CF Industrial Holdings, Kroger. It looks like food, basic material stocks are starting to rally as well. Marathon, Freeport-McMoRan, that's a copper stock. So it's getting a little more broader. It's not all energies right now, but it is mostly energies. You got a little gold in there. You've got a little copper in there. You got a little supermarket in there. You got a little industrial in there. Metal in there again, defensive stock in there again. That's what you need to focus on right now. Defensive, defensive, defensive. Now, on the downside, not much has changed. IPGP, one stock came down here. Gap came down here. Aptiv came down here. But the bottom line is most of these stocks like Under Armour, Gap, clothing companies, Albemarle. I don't know why Albemarle is all the way down. But PayPal, Meta, Moderna, the bottom three stocks have been at the bottom for a while now. Nothing much has changed. PayPal, Meta, and Moderna. The bottom three, top three, Occidental, Mosaic, CF Industries. And by the way, all of these stocks have been on this list for, let me just go back a month. So Occidental right there, US Marathon right there, Chevron right there. Just looking to see CF Industries right there, Marathon right there. Look at that. That's a month ago. All in the top 10, top 20. Nothing really has changed if you look at this. And Devon was back there on February 1st. And today, Devon is right there. So not much has changed. Bottom line is, I'm seeing several factors right now that are showing us that we're bottoming out or getting close to bottom out, including volatility, including the momentum levels. Let me show you the momentum level. Wait a minute. Put the call ratio. Very, very significant. The fact that we're at 105. The bond market, the fact that the bond market is down. And most importantly, the fact that we're diverging between price and momentum. Price and momentum. As long as we don't break this down, I think we'll be okay. I'm hoping we're going to stay within this little box range today and kind of just hunker around this area right here and go a little higher instead of lower. That would be ideal. Bottom line is not a time to panic, folks. Not a time to get crazy about this market. It's a time to be defensive. Now, tomorrow, I'm going live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday, March 8th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Put it in your calendar, and I'm going to break down a strategy that'll help investors take a more systematic approach to trading without all these emotions. Leave these emotions on the side, on the corners. But first, I'm recommending potential attendees to read a free ebook so they can soak up all the information that I'm giving you guys on Tuesday. In it, I'll talk about my number one mistake traders make that allows Wall Street algorithms to rob them blind. I also reverse engineered the algorithm system that I use, the strategy, and show everyone exactly how it works. Folks, you need to be there. You need to check this out. This is very important, especially right now. I want you to click on the link below and get my new ebook and register for Tuesday's live class. Again, follow the link below, get access to my ebook, and register for Tuesday, March 8th class. It's happening at 1 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about strongest sector, strongest stock, weakest sector, weakest stock, and maybe I'll even give you a bonus hot pick. Follow the link below. Check this out. If you're watching on YouTube, go to Wealth Press channel on YouTube and click on the link below this video. And I'll talk to you guys soon. And send me some notes. Send me some love letters. Support@marketgeeks.com. If I've been helping you, keep you out of trouble. Bye, guys. Have a great, great week ahead. And I'll be here every step of the way to help you out.